There was a fellow, and he was done. He found no joy in anything. He found no joy in his family, in his work, in his community. He was finished, and he wanted to go to paradise now. So every night he would pray, please, God, let me come to paradise, please. Every night he would pray. And one day, on his way to work in the morning, he sat in the village square. Oh, it's so hectic and busy and dusty and smelly. And he sat there and he just shook his head. And then he noticed that there was a woman sitting next to him, and she wasn't really old, but she wasn't young, and she wasn't beautiful, but she wasn't ugly or anything. He noticed her, and he looked at her closely, and she said, do you really want to go to paradise now? And he realized who it was. And he said, yes, I do. I really want to go to paradise right now. I don't want to wait any longer. I want to be there now. And she said, well, it turns out it's down that road over there, about 2 days' journey. Are you sure you want to go to paradise now? Yes, I do. So she gave him the directions. She said, go home, have a rest, finish, get yourself all packed and ready to go, and then make your way down the road following my directions. And so that's what he did. He went home. He packed up some stuff. He started on his way down the road late the afternoon. He started walking, and he was walking, and he walked, and he walked, and he walked. And it started to get darker, and it started to get darker. And finally, he had to stop. It was too dark to keep going. And there was a tree, and under the tree on the other side, there was a stream. So he went over to the stream, and he scooped up some water and splashed his face, got some of the dust off, and he took something out of his bag and nibbled a bit. And then he sat down, and he sort of leaned against a tree. And, he was tired. So he figured he would go to sleep now. And he closed his eyes, and he was drifting off. When he realized, wait a minute. What if during the night I fall against the tree, I roll over, I do something, and I don't know which way to go on the road because I have never been here and this does not look familiar. I know what I'll do. He took off his shoes and he walked over to the side of the road, and he put his shoes pointing in the direction that he was going. So in the morning he could just put them on and keep going. He did that. And then he went to sleep. Well, it's hard to know exactly what happened. I mean, maybe it was an imp, maybe an angel, maybe it was just a squirrel, but somehow during the night, the shoes got turned around the other way. When he woke up in the morning, he slipped into the shoes and he started walking. He was walking back towards his village. He walked and he walked and he came along. He came to the top of the hill, and he could see there was a valley, and then at the top of the next hill there was a town, and he knew what it was. It was paradise. He was almost there. So he really hustled and he walked. He was tired, but he hustled and he hustled and he hustled and he got there and he went through the gate and he looked around and oh my goodness, it was the most beautiful town. And the people looked so nice. And the square where there was a bench, he could sit on the bench. So he did. He sat on the bench and he looked around. He heard the children laughing and playing. And it was, and then it got later in the day. And oh, the smells coming from the different houses around the square. It smelled so wonderful, and he'd used up all of his food. And oh, this village looked a great deal like his own village. So he thought to himself, well, maybe here in paradise, there's a street that is like my street. So he walked into where it would be, and there it was. He found the street and he walked down the street. He said, if the street's here, maybe a house like mine. And he walked along, and there, right where it was supposed to be, there it was. And he looked at it in amazement, and a woman who really quite resembled his wife came out the door, and she said, you're home finally. Come and eat dinner. It's getting hot. It's getting cold. And he was astonished. She had called him by his name. They knew his name in paradise. Oh, he must be very welcome there. And they wanted to feed him. So he said, certainly this is paradise. She said, I don't know for paradise. Come and eat your dinner. So he went into the house. He sat down. This house, it was nothing like his house. His house was cluttered and cramped and noisy, but this house was cozy and homey and it smelled amazing. And he sat at the table and she brought over some soup, and he had never had soup as wonderful as that soup. Oh my goodness, it was a lot like his wife's soup, but oh, it was so much better, especially in this wonderful, warm, cozy house. And then little children came in and they said, would you help us with our homework? And of course. And so he did. And it got to be later at night. The children went off to bed. And the woman said, I'm going to go to bed. I think I want to sleep with the younger one because he's a little off. I'll see you in the morning. And he said, good night, and thank you for that wonderful dinner. She said, okay, you're welcome, good night. And he sat there and he thought, well, this is very like my house. I wonder if there is a spare room upstairs, like in my house. And he climbed up the stairs, and right where it should be, there it was. And he went into it and he lay down on the bed. It was so comfortable, way more comfortable than in his own house. It was great. And he slept. Oh, he went right to sleep. He never slept that well at home. Oh, it was glorious. In the morning, he woke to the sun coming through the window, and it was paradise. And then the woman called up and said, it's breakfast time. So he went downstairs and she handed him breakfast, and the kids were there and they were eating breakfast, and then the kids went off to school and he finished the breakfast, and it was so good. And it really, he was so happy. And then when he finished, the woman brought over a bag of tools like he used when he went to work. She said, off you go to work, see you later. See you tonight. And so he went and he started towards where his job was and where it should be. And there it was. And he thought, I'm surprised that people work in paradise. I mean, but then he thought another bit. He said, but but you have to maintain everything. And even in paradise, you probably need to do maintenance work and stuff. So he worked hard, and oh my goodness, he had the best day at work. It was so fulfilling and satisfying, and it made such a difference to know that he was helping to build paradise. At the end of the day, he walked home smiling, looking around. He got to that house, that was like his home. And the woman said, come into dinner. And again, he ate dinner. And he said, this is paradise. I love this. She said, yes, okay. And that's where he stayed for the rest of his life. And all the rest of his life, he would tell people, this is paradise. And they would say, okay. And his whole life long, no one could ever convince him that he wasn't living in paradise.